So I recently watched Erling Haaland's full day of eating video on his YouTube, and quite a few things stood out to me. So for those of you who don't know who he is, he's a football player, right? He's about 25 years old. He's a striker, and he's from Norway, I'm pretty sure. And whatever your opinion is of him, right, whatever you think about football, you can't deny he is a fantastic player with serious athletic capability. And when I saw his full day of eating, quite a few things stood out. So one thing I'll go straight into is this guy is very obsessed, clearly, with elements of the ancestral lifestyle, which I talk about a lot. And I don't necessarily mean ancestral in terms of literally eating raw meat and being super dialed in with like the primal diet per se, but more so in terms of the food choices, in terms of why he's choosing that food and the benefits of it. Like one big example was his choice of raw milk. He even had I know it was somewhere in the UK, I think somewhere in the Midlands, and he had a milk bottle with the raw milk kind of sign on it. And yeah, so what I think has happened with Haaland, right, and what I think he's a great example of is the power of not only eating whole foods, but foods that are all geared towards testosterone and performance. Because anyone who understands athleticism or male performance in general, you know that testosterone is the driver for most things, right? So for muscle gain, for speed, agility, endurance, and most importantly, recovery. So naturally, you'd assume it makes sense to gear everything you eat towards that exact thing, right? So therefore, why does everyone not eat like this? Why does every athlete not eat like Haaland? And the reason why is because a lot of them take performance enhancing drugs. Now, I personally don't know if Erling Haaland takes any of those things. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But either way, even if he doesn't, let's assume he doesn't, because he looks very natural, right? I mean, when you look at his physique, he doesn't look unnatural in any way. Let's just assume he's not taking anything. His diet would be geared towards testosterone anyway, right? So a few things stood out to me. Number one, this guy eats a bunch of eggs in the morning. I think in the video he only ate 2, which I don't know, maybe because he wasn't training, he wasn't going to have a big heavy breakfast. I don't know. That might just be his personal preference. And for a 6'5" guy, 2 eggs is not a lot. But I know this guy eats about 6,000 calories a day, which I've read online. And that includes beef, organs, mostly animal produce. So to get 6,000 calories worth of that, you've got to be eating a decent amount, right? So 2 eggs, I'm assuming for whatever reason in this video, he only ate 2 eggs. But that's besides the point. He's got cholesterol there, right? Eggs are saturated fat and cholesterol, and that's the first thing you're eating in the day. What does that do? It gives your body the right nutrients, micronutrients, and fats and foundations to produce good amounts of testosterone. He also had a black coffee, which he specifically stated was organic, was fresh. He wasn't using instant coffee, and he used raw milk with a bit of maple syrup in it for the natural sugar. Now, the natural sugar, again, brilliant. A lot of people have this misconception around sugar. They think it should be completely avoided, but it shouldn't be, because DHT is the expression of testosterone, and that means basically whatever testosterone does, DHT is the amplifier. So if you want bigger muscles, if you want more athletic performance, you want high DHT. And for DHT, you need natural sugar, because your thyroid needs basically to produce a hormone called 5A reductase, which requires sugar. So he's got that element nailed down. So when you look at Haaland, what stands out about him? Well, one, the guy's very, very tall, right? And if he's been eating like this for a good amount of time, that would explain why he's grown so much. He also has a lot of healthy looking hair, and overall his skin looks good. Like Haaland is in the least offensive way possible. He isn't the best looking guy out there. He's got a bit of an unusual face, but that's just genetics. That's not, that's not anything that your diet would change necessarily. So that aside, I'm only saying that because I'm premeditating some people saying, oh, but your skin isn't perfect, look at him. You can't help the way your face looks. But in terms of everything else that is measurable, this guy is on another level compared to most other athletes who have had plastic surgery and probably take, performance enhancing drugs. Now, one thing that's never been released is his blood work. I would love to see this guy's blood work to see what his testosterone levels are at, to be honest, because I would assume they're very high. And another thing that really stood out to me about his method was him talking about how he prioritizes recovery. And this is one thing I'm always trying to tell people. A lot of guys are saying they need to train more. I need to do more weightlifting. I need to do more cardio, do more activity. And a lot of the time, if testosterone is your main goal and your main goal is looking aesthetic and performing well, more training can often inhibit what you're actually trying to achieve, because it actually worsens all of your hormones, right? It will spike your cortisol, and that's one thing that Haaland actually tracks was his cortisol. It will worsen your recovery. It will obviously lower your testosterone because of those two aspects, and therefore putting on muscle is harder, losing fat is harder, keeping what you've got is harder, right? Your body will start wasting away. So don't overtrain. If for a lot of you, right, I'm using an example here of a professional athlete, a football player who's living an extreme lifestyle of training, and even he is using the ancestral type diet to train, and it's working for him. You know, and he will have lots of carbs. Like I said, he's got the natural sugar from the maple syrup. He'll probably fuel up with sourdough, with rice, with sweet potatoes, and that stuff all makes a difference. Lots of fatty meat as well, like ribeyes, because fat is what your body uses as its primary source of fuel when you're a healthy, metabolically flexible person. And that's why you shouldn't be cutting out fats, right? These bodybuilders who are like, remove your egg yolks, have only chicken breasts, only turkey breasts, and all this stuff of like avoiding fat. It's silly, because a lot of them inject steroids anyway, so they don't have to worry about hormones. But two, they're doing that to max out the whole protein to calorie ratio, which doesn't include performance at all, real life performance. And that's why a lot of bodybuilders can look good, but feel like absolute shit, because their hormones have been totally neglected. And for a guy like Haaland, who's looking to perform at a very high level, look at what he does. He focuses his entire diet on hormones instead of trying to look aesthetic, and ironically ends up looking aesthetic and ends up performing really well. So, that's one thing to bear in mind about what you believe to be the right choice with dieting and everything else. A lot of the time you've just been fed the wrong information. But back to the point I was going to make. Not all of you are professional athletes like Haaland. A lot of us are regular people looking to be functionally strong, right? I used to be a cage fighter myself, and my diet wasn't good when I was training, but now my diet is the best it's ever been, and I've recently gone back to training and performed fantastic. You know, like so much more energy, so much more power hitting the bags and hitting the pads, and even in sparring. And in terms of my physique, it's also better in every way. I've managed to finally tan, right? When my skin was burnt, I can now tan because my body and the cells are stable enough to, have sunlight. Erling's quite pale, but I'm assuming that's because he's from Norway. The guy doesn't probably get a lot of sun anyway, which would be the one thing that should change ideally, but maybe that's down to his environment. And, like for example, me, I'm from a Scottish family, low on the melanin scale, and yet I'm dark now. I've gone tanned because my body has been taught to handle the sun through diet and lifestyle, and it matters a lot. But since then, like, I train 3 days a week, lift 3 times a week, and my diet does the rest, and that's what excellent hormones do. So regardless of whether you train 6 days a week or 3 days a week, it's rare that your problem is more training. Your problem is probably what you're putting in your body. You need to eat like Haaland, right? Take a note from his book. He's eating like that for a reason. And he's probably not taking any drugs, any performance enhancing drugs or anything like that. But a lot of guys are, right? Especially bodybuilders who are telling you to track your calories excessively and cut out fat. They're all injecting steroids and peptides, and they're telling you to live this way when you're not doing any of those things. So, and they also tell you to train 6 days a week as well, which just isn't realistic for a lot of you. So the testosterone method is extremely useful, right? And you've even got world-class athletes like Haaland who are using them. And it's not just Haaland, I'm pretty sure there's others. There's one NHL player, I forgot his name, Mac Collins or something, I forgot his name. I don't know who he is, but I know he mentioned about it before. There's been several UFC fighters that have. And I don't know anyone who's going to debate whether it works or not. I think it's just, the only thing that holds a lot of people back is the whole scare mongering from the mainstream health, who are saying, oh, you shouldn't do it because it's too much cholesterol, too much fat for your heart, and that's just bullshit, right? When you completely remove processed food, you become healthier. The heart disease, all the fears that you have, all comes from the processed food, from stress inside your body, also known as oxidative stress. from free radicals, from oxidation of cholesterol molecules, right? It's not the cholesterol itself, it's the oxidation and everything that comes with it. And guess what causes that? Processed food. So if the only thing that's stopping you doing it is health concerns or mainstream health concerns, ditch it, because it's all bullshit, right? Our ancestors ate like this for thousands of years, and the highest performing humans now also eat like it, so it's even more reason to do it. So yeah, I mean, I hope you guys have found this insightful anyway. I just wanted to talk about it quick because I watched the video and I was like, there's a reason why this guy's performing so well, and this is exactly everything that I'll talk about. So I want to come on here and obviously express my opinion on it, because that Erling Haaland is onto something with it, and I don't know where he got it from. Maybe he just did his own research, like any smart person does. There's even a guy that I know on Instagram who does breathwork, who has personally worked with him, and that's clearly a sign that he looks elsewhere outside of mainstream kind of articles to get his advice, and that's probably where he's got his diet advice from. Meanwhile, you'll have these nerds online that say, oh, don't get your diet advice from random grifters online, get it from the mainstream guidelines. Well, the mainstream guidelines clearly aren't working for most people. That's why health has gotten worse in every category since like 1970. I don't understand how people can't put that basic logic together. So there's nothing wrong with getting your health advice online if it's coming from people that you want to be like. And Erling Haaland, myself, and other creators in the space are a perfect example of that. So yeah, start focusing your diet on testosterone and watch your whole life change. For those of you who don't know me as well, if this is your first time seeing me, my name is Angus Jobson. I'm an online fitness coach who focuses entirely on testosterone naturally, right, to benefit every aspect of your life: your drive, your physique, your energy, your relationship. Like it's not just about fitness, right? This isn't about tracking calories and fat loss. It goes a lot deeper than that. If you're brand new to this, then you don't necessarily have to listen to this, but if you've been watching me for a while, you've probably been thinking about investing in my coaching, which as you can see in the description, there is a link for. So if you want to book a call and see if it's a good fit, then book a call and we will have a talk through your situation. I'm also running a webinar on July the 25th, which is this Saturday coming up. So you can register for that as well. If you go on my Instagram, there is a link to do that. But I'll also put a link in the description here as well, so you can write out in the type form, type your name, type your email. You'll get a ticket sent to your inbox. And on Saturday, I will be doing a full 2-hour masterclass explaining everything, right? A lot more than what I've talked about in this video. Everything you need to know about the testosterone method, right? Enough. Who knows? Erling Haaland might even attend himself and learn a few things. So there's going to be a lot on there. Make sure you're there. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and follow my Instagram. That will be in the description as well. And I'll see you guys on the next one.